Hey everybody, it is Dak here from the Ed Boys, and welcome to my Make Money with Herblore guide. Herblore is usually known as a very expensive skill because, quite frankly, it is. If you're trying to get to 99 Herblore, it's either going to cost you a lot of money or just take absolutely forever. There's not a lot of ways to profit with Herblore, and some of these methods are just Herblore related, not actually Herblore training methods. There's also a lot of ifs, ands, and buts when it comes down to making money with Herblore, so it's very possible you'll listen to all these money-making methods and decide maybe it isn't so bad to just hemorrhage some cash while you're trying to make a little bit of Herblore XP. You might get a bit of a vibe that I gave off in the Don't Make Money with Woodcutting video. In general, I don't think Herblore should be used to make a lot of money, or you shouldn't be trying to profit for a lot of Herblore XP, but I do think these are viable methods to make some cash. Herblore is all about making potions, and with the vast majority of potions not making any money, that's not very good when it comes to profit. There are a couple of potions that do profit at the moment. The only one that's traded somewhat commonly would be Weapon Poison Plus Plus. They actually have a pretty good profit margin, and compared to Weapon Poison and Weapon Poison Plus, people do actually have to buy these. The problem is, they're not made just like normal potions. They kind of are, but you need some extra ingredients, including a Nightshade, which is untradeable and can only be picked up off the ground in that Ogre City south of Castle Wars. This method is not only higher effort than other ones that I'll talk about in this guide, but it's maxing out at like 13k Herblore XP an hour, which would be like 1,000 hours for 99 Herblore from one. And you're going to max out at maybe 200 to 300k profit an hour, which all depends on the price of weapon poison when you watch this video too. It is a way to profit while you do Herblore, but it's not very consistent and the benefits aren't very high enough for me to really get behind it. The only method that I'll be discussing in this guide that I do stand behind and actually gives Herblore XP is going to be cleaning herbs. Cleaning herbs is a very click-intensive way of Herblore training. One of the most click-intensive methods, actually. You're only getting 5 to 20 XP per click, depending on which herb you're using. There's no delay involved or automatic cleaning. You've just got to click every herb as fast as possible. The amount of herbs that you can clean an hour is going to vary a lot depending on how fast you are in the first place. If you haven't done this a lot, you might find when you try to click a bunch of herbs in a row, you're just going to be dragging them all the time rather than actually clicking on them. And it depends how resilient your wrist is. A lot of people after 5 minutes of this just can't handle it. A few inventories tends to be a little more reasonable than a few hours of this. I usually assume about 5,000 herbs an hour if I'm doing a full hour, but every time I say that in a vid, somebody mentions they could do like 10k, so apparently 10k is very doable, but 1,000 an hour can be very doable if your wrist starts giving out and you're pretty slow at this. So your profit range is kind of going to depend on your skill to just click every item in your inventory as fast as possible. Since you can do a ton of herbs an hour, you can make a very big difference on your profit depending on how well you buy and sell. This is kind of going to be a reoccurring theme in this video. At the moment, a grimy Ronar is 100 coins less than a clean one, and 100 coins is usually that average that I'm looking for profit-wise. Some herbs will hit up to 150 coins here and there, but the prices are always going to be fluctuating. If you're doing 5,000 Ronars an hour at 100 coins a piece, you'd be making 500k GP an hour, and you would still get 37.5k Herblore XP an hour, which isn't horrible. It's kind of a similar pace to rune crafting or even some shitty mining. If you buy for low and sell for high, though, you can make a huge difference in your profits. Buying for a longer period of time, like overnight buying for instance, you can stretch that profit margin from 100 coins to maybe 120 coins a piece, which would be 100k extra an hour. You can stretch that to 140 or 160, and then we're starting to approach possibly almost a mil an hour from cleaning herbs. The problem with buying a ton of herbs at once is you need a lot of money to do it. It's kind of the thing with any Herblore training, to be fair, it requires a lot of money. In this case, at least you're spending a lot of money to eventually sell the stuff back for even more money. When you just make potions, you're generally selling it back to lose a lot of cash, which is a sad day. Also, if you choose herbs like Toadflax, which is currently an 80 coin profit margin, it only costs 2.2k a piece, which is about a quarter of the price of Ronars. At the moment, 5,000 Ronars would cost you 39.5 mil, though you would sell it back for about 40 mil just an hour later. Also, if you're doing 5,000 herbs every hour, you might need to do different types of herbs, because being able to buy 20,000 herbs in 4 hours is not really a thing with the grain exchange. There are buy limits, and not everybody is selling tons of herbs. It's not like there's just an unlimited supply ready and waiting for you. There has been one savior when it comes to cleaning herbs. It came out just over a year ago, and it's known as OSRS Mobile. I will admit that I thought cleaning herbs on mobile would be a little bit better than it is, but just having to tap each herb rather than clicking one is a savior on your wrist. You could just take both thumbs out and you really don't have to move that much, right? I did find that I don't really clean more herbs per hour if I'm on mobile. If anything, I end up cleaning a little bit less than my max pace. Mostly because I'm used to speeding through with a mouse and then trying to actually tap with my fat fingers. I usually end up swapping herbs around the inventory, dragging them rather than actually tapping on them and cleaning them. I use cleaning herbs to warm up more than I do to make an actual profit over multiple hours. If I'm just logging in and I plan on doing something that's very click intensive, like bossing for instance, then cleaning herbs is a really good way to warm up the old clicks. Plus, we've got that added benefit of Herblore XP that doesn't cost me any money. In fact, it'll make some money. A very reasonable moneymaker that requires Herblore levels but doesn't actually give any Herblore XP is making unfinished potions. The process for making a potion starts by using a clean herb on a vial of water, which makes an unfinished potion, and then afterwards you would add some sort of secondary ingredient, which is often where you lose your money. That first step of just making the unfinished potion tends to profit pretty well. Most players that are grinding Herblore XP don't really want to make the unfinished potions themselves since it doesn't give any XP, so you can just buy those unfinished ones in the secondaries, making the unfinished potions a little bit higher in demand. The process of making an unfinished potion is the same as actual Herblore training, so it's a little bit AFK. You just take 14 vials and 14 herbs, and then you get a second while your player will make them. Basically, it's a bank standing method. There's no running or movement required. There's no extra consequences for AFKing too long. Unlike something like box trap hunting, if you AFK too long there, you're going to lose your traps. You might have to bank extra. There's actually some extra consequences to AFKing other than the fact that you're not doing anything if you walk away from your computer. It is very chill, there are very low requirements, and it is very easy to do, just making some unfinished potions. The potion that makes the most money is going to vary a little bit depending on how the prices have fluctuated. Prices do depend on demand, obviously, so it's usually pretty consistent which potion is going to make the most money, and it's usually pretty consistent that a certain unfinished potion will always profit. I don't really think that these methods will just suddenly turn into a loss anytime soon. Ranar potions do spend a lot of time on the top, or at least top 3 or 4, with a high demand of prayer potions. The big benefit of these is they also have one of the lowest requirements, only needing 30 Herblore to do them. Even with the most expensive methods, 30 Herblore is very cheap. It's going to take you less than an hour if you just buy the supplies. It's possible to make over 3,000 unfinished potions an hour, but we're going to go with that 3,000 average for this video. A vial of water only costs like 4 coins, so it basically makes 0 difference in the cost. A clean Ranar costs just under 8k at the moment, 79.50 coins, and the finished ones, or excuse me, the unfinished potion is 81.20 coins apiece. This is on the lower end at the moment. I'm usually expecting around 200 coins per potion, but a lot of this might change depending on when you watch, so it doesn't hurt to just look up the prices before you buy a bunch of stuff. With 170 coins per potion, you'd be making a little over 500k an hour, and since you're going through a lot of potions, you can make a big difference on your profits if you buy your supplies a little bit slower over time and try to save those few coins per herb, and then selling your unfinished potions back for a few more coins apiece, just like with cleaning grimy herbs. Even 10 coins less per herb and 10 coins more per potion can bring you from close to 500k an hour to close to 600k an hour, and it doesn't actually change the method at all. You're just typing in different numbers when you buy. If you make sure to buy overnight or while you still have some supplies to work with, then you also aren't waiting around for your supplies to buy just because you're buying low and selling high. It does require some patience to actually buy these things for cheaper and sell them for more expensive numbers, but if you have something else to do while you're buying and selling, then you really don't need patience. You just go do something else while you wait. Ranars are very expensive, so buying a few thousand at a time requires a big pool of money to start with. Some other potions are going to give you different options that still make good money though. At the time of making this video, Lantidimes have a 240 coin profit per potion, which is higher than the norm, and they're under 2k a piece, which is very easy to stockpile. They're not as high in demand, so it could take a little bit slower to sell back, but it's still a good option. Dwarf weeds are also around a 200 coin profit margin and are super cheap, but again, you have that low demand, so you need a little more patience when it comes to buying and selling. Snapdragons have a great profit margin currently, but they're more expensive than Ranars. Toadflax are super cheap and they profit pretty well, so that might be the best option for broke people. Really just about any herb is going to make a profit if you turn it into unfinished potions, so I could list every one of them here. I usually just check out these options first, but if you are diligent, just make sure you check the prices before you buy. This really should be the case for any money-making guide you ever watch. Check the prices before you buy. Things can change quickly depending on an update, or just slowly over time. The effort required to make unfinished potions really comes down more to buying supplies and selling potions rather than making actual potions. Making the potions is very easy, but buying the supplies takes a little bit more time. Sadly, this doesn't give any Herblore XP in any way, so it's a little weird for this guide. You're just making money with Herblore requirements, but making money while training Herblore is a pretty strange trend anyways. You could also combine some of the moneymakers and fast XP, so instead of like the people who buy unfinished potions and crank out XP, you could buy vials of water and grimy herbs, and you could go through the cleaning herb process and the unfinished potion process, then make the finished potions for the fast XP. You'll get a bit of a combination of not spending nearly as much money, still getting some fast XP, but clearly not the quickest in the game. I was going to throw decanting potions onto this guide, but not only does it not require any herblore levels, it doesn't give any herblore XP. The only reason it's related to herblore at all is because that tends to be where the potions come from in the first place, but decanting potions is not an herblore moneymaker. It's also pretty inconsistent, it's hard to make a lot of money, and even if you find a good potion to decant for cash, you can't like do it for a long period of time. You can basically buy your GE max limit of 1 dosers, decant them to 4, sell them back. That might take 5 minutes, and now you gotta wait 4 hours for that grain exchange limit. Not that you can't make money decanting potions, and I've now talked about it for a little bit too long, but for those reasons, I've decided to omit decanting potions from this guide. Overall, I believe that's everything I wanted to talk about when it comes to making money with Herblore, everybody. If you still have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, or you just got some useful information, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. I do stream on Twitch, I am on Twitter, and I have a Discord, which all links are in the description. Thank you very much for watching the video, everybody. Hope you enjoyed, and best of luck on your Herblore grind.